guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the channel if you're new here. In this week's video I'm going to be giving the van a service. So the Haynes manual recommends that you change the oil and oil filter every 10,000 miles or every 6 months, whichever comes soonest. I stick to a yearly maintenance schedule for my van because I never do more than 10,000 miles in a year. I've probably averaged about 5,000 miles this year, so it's due its yearly service, and I stick to that and I change all the filters once a year. If you get quick at doing it yourself, you don't have to take it to a garage, it's going to save you money. Regular servicing is really important to keep the engine in tip-top condition. It'll keep it running nice and smooth, you'll get better fuel economy, better performance, so it's good to keep on top of the servicing. So for this service I've got two 4-litre drums of 10W40 semi-synthetic oil. I've got a genuine Ford fuel filter, I'm using a MAN oil filter, and I've got a Motorcraft air filter. I bought these parts from different places, mainly eBay, to get the genuine parts. I've also got some of this engine stop leak. The 2.5 DI engine is prone for the rear crank seal leaking, so I've got a slight leak on mine and I want to try some of this, see if it sorts it out. This was only £5, so I think it's worth a try. It saves me dropping the gearbox out, and especially when I want to use the van this year for camping. It's supposed to stop and prevent oil leaks, revitalise rubber and neoprene seals, lubricate and maintain engine seals in good condition, and it's compatible with all mineral and synthetic engine oils. I've just taken the van out for a spin, so the engine's up to temperature and the oil's nice and warm, and that should help it drain out quicker. It makes it less viscous. So we can get underneath the van now, take out the oil sump plug and then start draining the oil. We're quite lucky with this van, it's got good ground clearance, so we shouldn't even need to jack it up. To make it easier for me to show you what I'm doing underneath there, I've just put it up on ramps, but you don't really need to do this. This is my oil catch tray. It's well worth investing in one of these if you're going to be doing regular servicing yourself. It makes it much more efficient to drain out of this spout here, and you don't end up getting oil everywhere. This is a sump plug at the back of the oil sump here. If you feel this, it should be nice and warm. So let's get our 13mm socket and remove the sump plug. It's loose because I've already loosened it off. Let's make sure that your pan's underneath it, and I tend to just drop the sump plug into the pan and then fish it out a bit later. Just like that. By removing the oil filler cap, you're allowing the engine to vent, and that will help the oil drain out the bottom of the sump. Right, we're down to a few drips now, so I'm going to put the oil sump plug back in. I just need to dip my hand in here and try and find it. There it is. Let's just put it back in for now. So now I can remove the oil filter. There's the oil filter up there, screwed onto the side of the engine. And I can just loosen this off by hand because I put it on last time, and they don't need to be mega tight. I mean, people really over tighten these. As long as it's not leaking, then that's the main thing. So here I've got the ratchet strap around the filter, and I can just use this to loosen off the old filter. Very hard to do this one-handed, but you get the idea. There's lots of different methods for getting these oil filters off. If you haven't got a ratchet strap and it's really hard to get the filter off, you could always hammer a screwdriver all the way through the metal. You're not going to be reusing this anyway, this is going in the bin. And then that'll give you some leverage to remove the old oil filter. This can be very messy, so take your time about it. And make sure you've got the catch tray underneath it. There it comes. Try and keep it upright like that, and you won't spill as much. Here we have our new oil filter, so you just want to get that out of the box. Oh, a white one. That's not going to stay white for long, is it? And then you just want to get some engine oil and just put a smear round the seal, and that way it won't bind up when you screw it back on. That's all nice and clean up there. get the new filter. And you really don't need to go mega tight. Maybe just tighten it as much as you can by hand. And that should be good enough. It's not going to come off. It shouldn't leak. And it'll be easier to get off next time. Now let's go back to our sump plug. Take that back out. Because I'm a little bit anal when it comes to engine servicing, I'm just going to flush through with a bit of clean oil to get any last contaminants out of the bottom of the sump. Make sure your funnel's nice and clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So let's just pour a bit of that through. It's a good idea to replace your sump plug washer, as these are a single use item. But what I tend to do is, where they've been compressed, just get them on some sandpaper and sand them level again, and then you can reuse them. Once you're happy you've got enough of the old engine oil out, go ahead and replace the sump plug with the new or reconditioned washer. You can just nip up the sump plug, or the torque specifications are 20 to 27 Newton meters. Because I'm going to be using some of this engine leak stop, I'm not going to put the full capacity of engine oil in, as this will take up 325 mils of capacity. According to the Haynes manual, the normally aspirated engine takes 6.15 litres of engine oil and the turbo takes 6.25 litres. So let's start by putting one 4 litre drum in. I'm using 10W40 this time, but I have been running on 5W30. There's 4 litres in there at the moment. This is 5 litres here. It's 825 mils. And finally 325 mils of this engine stop leak. Pour that in. And this tin treats up to 6 litres. Put that back on. If we check the oil level now using the dipstick, you'll see the level's a bit high. That will drop down once it's circulated around the oil filter. I'm now going to go run the engine and let the oil circulate, and then I can check for any leaks around the oil filter and around the sump plug. Right, final check of the engine oil. Make sure you dispose of your old engine oil properly at your local recycling centre, or use it for rust-proofing the inside of your chassis. Right, the next step is to replace the air filter element. If you've installed an oil catch can like I have, you might just want to move this out of the way, and it will give you better access to the air filter in this housing here. So here we have the air filter housing. There's just a clip on each side of the box. Undo these clips, and then the lid should lift off. Just manoeuvre that out of the way. And there you can see the air filter element down in there. Simply lift the old air filter element out. Give that box a good clean in there. I'm not sponsored by elbow grease, I promise. Let's do a little comparison of the new filter compared to the old one. Genuine Ford Motorcraft. It's all nice and clean in there now. And then just get the new filter and put it in there. It is a bit fiddly to try and get the clips in place, but you'll get there eventually. Finally, I'm going to be replacing the fuel filter, and I'm going to be using a genuine Ford fuel filter. In the past I have used aftermarket ones and I've struggled to get them to seal up. So if you can find a genuine part, go for that one, I'd say. Right, so here's a fuel filter at the back. Mine's got a water in fuel sensor on the bottom of the filter, so I can just disconnect that plug off the bottom, move that to one side, and you might want to cover up your alternator so that if you spill any fuel it's not going to go on that. So just take this plastic ring and unscrew, take that off, and then just drop that off. Carefully remove this old one. And I'm just going to use the old diesel to clean out my oil pan. Just get rid of that. Take this sensor off the bottom. Now you want to take your new filter, and it comes with a plug in the bottom already, so if you want to do away with this sensor because the light keeps coming up on the dashboard, you can do away with that, or you can unscrew this, take the rubber O-ring off of that. It's really important to keep this clean. Just remove the old O-ring, take the new one off of the plug, and put it over your sensor. Just put a little bit of diesel on there and then screw this up. Not too tight, just enough. That's fine. So here I have my jerry can filled with high performance diesel. I'm just going to fill up the new fuel filter, and this is essentially priming the system. It will self prime, but it will just take a long time. That'll do. Have a look at the fuel filter. It's got 3 little cutouts here, here and here. They slot into the bottom of the filter housing, and then the plastic ring goes around the filter and then it just screws in. So with the new fuel filter in position, just get the plastic ring, put that around the filter. Will take a little bit of wiggling around to get it in the right position. I'm going to have to do that off camera because it requires 2 hands. Once the new filter's in place, clean it up, reconnect the plug on the bottom. And then go start the van up and make sure it's not leaking. If it is, take it off again and just wiggle it around, and you're just going to have to keep playing around with it until it stops leaking. But if you get a genuine Ford one, it should hopefully hold up. Right, I'm just going to go and start the engine. Might have a little bit of air in the system, so it might take a few cranks, but let's see how it goes. Lastly, make sure you don't forget to fill out your service records and keep receipts for any parts if you've been servicing it yourself. That way you've built up a service history with your van. When I got my van, it didn't have any service history, so I've just been building it up gradually and keeping all the receipts for the work that I've done. So that's it, we're all serviced up and ready to go. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful and enjoyed watching it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you click that little alarm bell, you'll get notifications when I post new videos. I hope you save yourself some money, and this video is giving you the confidence to do it yourself. Really straightforward, you just need some basic tools, and yeah, you're good to go.